Hello everyone, my name is Nishant Ranjan. I'm a student of PGTIM at NITIE. I'm making this video to tell you of my experiences in one of the subjects in Mod 1, that is Principles of Organization and Management. Now, what we have learned through our education in India is that Indian educational system is very repetitive and very theoretical. We don't learn the practical applications of things. But what we came across in classes of Principles of Organization and Management was the application of subjects that we come across in real life. Mr. T. Prasad, our faculty, or Mandi as he is fondly called, is a very dynamic person who brought out the best in us when it came to the application of the subjects. The song Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd aptly describes what educational system in India is today. Now, when we come back to the lessons, we started with tower building exercise. In tower building exercise, what we did was we took wooden cubes that were this big and we placed one on the top of the other to make a tower of a considerable height. Now, initially, what happened was that students were asked to estimate how tall a tower can they build using those wooden cubes. Now, initially they did not have any idea of how to do it, so they started with their own estimates of 30 to 40 cube high tower. So, later on we learned that if you don't know the constraints, you cannot build a tower without setting the target. So, the first thing that we came across was target setting or goal setting. We also realized that goal setting involves a bit of technical expertise, like saying that these are things called SMART goals. There are certain things called SMART goals, SMART, spelled as SMART. Now, what does S stand for? S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, T stands for timely. So the goals have to have these characteristics so that these goals can be later on worked upon. Three people from the class were selected to do the job. The roles that they played were to be, the first person was to play the role of the management. He had to give the he had to lay out the rules, the target, and provide the resources. The second person was to be act as the engineer or the mid-level management, who had to give the instructions to the third person, who was the laborer. The laborer had to do the actual act of tower building, and he was under the guidance of the engineer or the mid-level management, who was under the guidance of the management. So there was a chain of communication that existed between these three different modules. Now, what also was there, what we observed was that there were certain constraints that were mentioned later on by the faculty. The constraints were that the person who is right-handed has to build the tower using his left hand, and he has to be blindfolded. So suddenly the targets that the students had estimated came down drastically to 10 to 12 targets, to 10 to 12 tower of 10 to 12 cube high tower. So then the faculty gave us the previous target that had actually been achieved. So we realized that we should always know what has already been achieved and we should try to do better than that. What we also observed in the process was that one entity needs to trust the other entity thoroughly, or else the project will give away. Something will get stalled, or something, because resources are involved, the project may get stalled, and this will lead to huge impact on the total budget of the project. So we can take a look at the video that I had recorded during the session that happened, so that I can give you more insights into what happened in the process.
नहीं ये हाँ ये है वो मैं स्ट्रेट लाइन में हूँ ना उसके हाँ बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट लाइन में हूँ ना हाँ बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट मुझे बता दियो कब उठाऊँ ठीक है उठा थोड़ा और ऊपर उठा बस राइट ले
You are a top management guy. Actually, you have a completely different role for you.
Right.
That's what
पैसा लगाया ना तूने ये रियलिटी है राइट
you should have to look at what is the top management should do in this context.
अपनी तरफ
You can talk to PR, you can talk to the the outside world, we can talk about the reports, we can talk about the news.
ऊपर उठा रहा है तू बस अब नीचे जा
You can tell,
एंटी
you
क्लॉकवाइज
can
थोड़ा
see
टर्न
what
मारी
the kind of
तेरा
things
नीचे
are
वाला
there.
ब्लॉक थोड़ा एंटी
You can think how different it should be
नीचे
done.
रहा
You look at new technologies, you look at the new methods of work.
बस अब नीचे
You get an idea, you consult others. I mean, absolutely bring the outside world into it.
ठीक है
That's what the top management are supposed to do. If lower management is doing, you just don't want to join the lower management also. You are
बिल्कुल रखने वाला हूँ थोड़ी देर पहले
not that
को आ दिया करो
supposed to do it.
हाँ
So different management levels are different. The middle management, lower management, high management, each has got a complete different role for that matter.
अब
After the lessons in goal setting, now what we learned further was a concept called Theory X and Theory Y managers. What are Theory X and Theory Y managers? Theory X managers are managers who basically put pressure on the workers that are there under them, and Theory Y managers try to motivate them so that they can benefit the organization. The difference lies in the mindset of the managers. We also were given a case study, or we had to study an initiative by Mr. Salman Khan, who's an ex-hedge fund analyst and a manager. And we had to study his initiative, his entrepreneurship called Khan Academy. Now, then we moved on to 3 different types of skills that a manager should possess, such as conceptual skills, human skills, and technical skills. Conceptual skills are those skills that a manager needs to understand, so that manager needs to understand from the organization point of view of which he is a part. Human skills are basically soft skills and behavioral skills when he is surrounded by people, and technical skills are that he has learned over the years in his domain. Manager, as he grows, as he moves forward in an organization, as he grows higher and higher, he deals with he uses more of conceptual and human skills than technical skills. Then there was this valley crossing exercise in which there were 3 people involved, and what we learned was the application of scientific management. The problem scenario was that there was a gap which had to be bridged using a pole. You could not step on that pole, but you could rest it on your shoulders. The 3 different people put together rested on their shoulders, and the first and 2 people had to remain on the ground while 1 people had to just hang by that pole while he was crossing the gap. The problem scenario and the solution have been shown in the following photographs. Then we were shown a 3-monk video, a video of 3 monks. The problem was to fetch water from a well which was far away from the monastery. There were 3 different monks. So the first monk, what he did was he brought the water all by himself. So the effort involved was greater than what effort involved was when 2 monks came together to fetch the water. When 3 months came in, there was a bit of commotion, but what later followed that through proper strategic planning and organization, these 3 men could produce better output, better productivity, and also get less tired. So with minimum of resources, with less effort of the resources, you can get maximum output. This was a lesson that we learned. And also that there's a thing called synergy. Synergy means that if suppose say 1 plus 1 is 2, then when you add synergy to it, 1 plus 1 will be greater than 2, not equal to 2 but greater than 2. So a combination of people, if they are brought together and through proper planning, they can get better output than what they would individually have got. In the end, I would like to thank Professor Mandi for the enlightening experience that he brought to us in the last 2 months. For more on this, you can refer to my blog, whose address is on the screen right now. Thank you.